Hello, I'm Christine Caton in the Prior Learning Assessment Program at Marylhurst University, and I'm speaking to David Walker, who is an interdisciplinary studies major with concentrations in cultural studies and text image. And David has just recently submitted his final portfolio for a total of 36 credits. Woohoo! That's pretty good, David.
Thank you. It was fun.
What topics did you write for in PLA?
I wrote mostly for topics within my my interdisciplinary studies concentration. I wrote for, I think, one or two LAC credits, but most of them were like cultural studies, either film studies, some lit classes, history, and then I did effective listening, which was to knock that LAC credit out of the way, or requirement and the credits.
What was the most satisfying or the most challenging essay that you wrote, and why? Now you had a few that were quite challenging.
They were all challenging in their own right. I mean, the essay for effective listening was hands down the most difficult one for me, just because it was, I just never quite wrapped my head around how to make that work. And that was during my first round of writing, so I overthought it a lot. But the biggest challenge was I never wanted to write an essay that was going to be that easy. I wanted to be able to prove to myself that I'm earning these credits for real. You know, I didn't want to just go in and go, okay, I'm just going to sort of do a cakewalk through it. So
I love that.
It was, yeah. Once I did those last 2 or 3 essays, it was like, okay, yeah, I've proven it enough to myself. I don't need to write anymore.
Can you tell us about some of the benefits of writing for PLA credits in your experience?
You know, more than anything, I've talked to a lot of students here at Marylhurst, and when they find out that I've been in PLA, you know, the first thing they ask me is, you know, how hard was it? Should I do it? And I'm like, well, first thing you should go talk to, you know, either Jackie or Christine or somebody over in the department. But I'm a huge fan of it, and in part because I was very hesitant to come back to school in the first place. I didn't do well in my 20s, you know, my teens and my 20s. But what the PLA process did was it got me thinking really about what I know and how I've learned it. And so when I've gone into other classes, it really helped me build up a lot of confidence. I mean, I've been taking for just as my electives. This summer I took interpersonal neurobiology, which is a course that, you know, why would I think to take that? And it was, because I want to learn more, and I'm actually pretty good at learning. It's just all the models that I'd used in the past weren't effective for me. The traditional, you know, taking a midterm and then taking a final, I never did well in that sort of setting. But here, and the PLA writing gears you up for everything at Marylhurst is similar to PLA writing. It's just smaller. You know, it's like when we're in courses and the final project is a 8-page paper and everybody groans. I'm like, 8 pages is nothing. You know, I think I did a 45-page PLA essay at one point, and that was shortened down significantly from what I'd written. So PLA also is good, I think, for returning learners to sort of bolster confidence, because you come back and you think, wow, you know, when I was 20, I was a pretty bad student. I didn't do well in school, but what PLA helps you do is realize that it helps you remember what you know and how you know it and how you learned it, and really gets your mind, you know, thinking. I really do. I love it. If I could have found more classes, and I'm still looking, you know, it's not over. I still have a year left to go. Maybe I'll come back into it at some point. So,
any tips for students that are coming our way into PLA?
The biggest tips: first off, don't overthink it too much. I would say that your first go-round, the first round of writing that you do, make sure you're not taking anything else here at Marylhurst. Because that first time you're going to be second guessing and just getting learning how to walk. It's baby steps, really. And I was a fan during my second and third, and I think I did 4 rounds or something like that, of of tackling my essays sort of simultaneously, you know, figuring out what I was going to use for each one, and then I would start two almost at the same time. There would be my primary and my secondary, so that when I finished the primary essay, the secondary one was already started, and it wasn't like having to start all over again, which is the hardest part is always that first paragraph, you know. But if your first paragraph is already written, technically, then it helps.
Not so scary.
It's not so scary. I also relied on peer feedback and working with the instructors and the other students, and just sort of, you know, there's a lot to be said for that team effort that goes into it, and you rely on the resources that are available. So, but yeah, every person I talk to, I'm like, you should go to Merrillhurst. You know, you should. Oh, you know, you can get credit for that. And they look at me and they go, what are you talking
David,
about?
this is great PR. We're going to have to put you up on a billboard. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your tips and your thoughtfulness about process. And congratulations on your 36 credits. That is awesome.
Thank you.